Welcome to 10 Questions. Profiles from a Distance. A Dirtbag NPR production. Question number 1.
Introduce yourself like you're writing a Tinder bio. All the pertinent information, a few quirks.
Hi. My name is Vin Bru. I live in Monmouth County, New Jersey with my beautiful dog, Rocky. He's a good boy. Aren't you a good boy? He's right over here. You're a good boy. I think my main passion in life is music. I love writing and recording music. I've put out like 30 albums over the past 20 years, which nobody has cared about, but I don't care that they don't care. So joke's on you guys, losers. I also do stand-up comedy, which I hate. So I mostly just do it to get out there and have fun and meet people. I just like having fun. That's a lie. Apparently, I'm a liar. I like lying. I'm actually I'm a very shy, reserved, antisocial person. I'm a real Renaissance man, except I can't paint. I don't like speedboats. I do not like speedboats. You know, everyone who has a speedboat is a douchebag. They're always, like, everyone thinks they're Tom Cruise, and they're like, I'm going to put the pedal to the metal, you know, and then the boat's like at a 45-degree angle, and you're like, are we going to flip over? Am I going to die? I don't want to die in a speedboat accident. I want to have fun on the water. I like slow boats. I don't know why I'm talking so fast. You got to slow it down. Right now, I'm getting worked up talking about this. Speedboat's got me fired up.
Vincent Bru, Renaissance liar. Strongly against speedboats, opposed to painting, or not good at it. 20 albums in 30 years, or 30 albums in 20 years. Either way, you could open your own music store with just your music. Your name doesn't sound finished. Bru is abrupt, like Brewster, Bruheim. Sounds like those people at Ellis Island got real lazy about 150 years ago. Brutensifier. No, that's too much for America. Let's cross out about 7/8 of it. Shout out to Rocky. He is a good boy. I've never met him, but all dogs, you know? All dogs are good boys. I respect that. And moving on.
Question number 2.
What's the first experience as a child that you truly remember? Whether it's a birthday party or mowing the lawn. Something like that.
I have this memory that has always been kind of like the first memory in my mind, but the thing about it is that I'm in the memory. I can see myself in the memory. So obviously it's not a real memory, but it was the experience of going to kindergarten or pre-K. I don't know what it was. I think it was kindergarten. And, it was the first day of school that I got to, and I fucking hated it. I did not want to be there at all. And so this image in my mind, which is it's like a painting from the Renaissance or something, like it's just like slow-mo. I'm in a dark hallway with my mom and this like teenage girl who my mom would drive to school, and they're both like pulling at me, trying to get me to go into the classroom, and there's like this line of light just pouring out into the dark hallway from the classroom, and they're just pulling at me, dragging me into this classroom, and I'm like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to. There's all these strange, weird kids in there. I don't know who these fucking people are. There could be savages in there.
Your first day of school sounds like a Pink Floyd video directed by Stanley Kubrick. Like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. The lighting is perfect. Very ominous. I like that. As far as being in your first memory, I don't think that that's absurd. I can see myself in a lot of things that I've done. So I want to count it.
Question number 3.
Do you have a hobby you always wanted to pursue that you never followed through on?
That always sits in the back of your mind?
When I was a teenager, and even before that, I was very much into comic books. And psychotically into comic books, and I would write stories all the time, come up with my own characters and storylines, and I started drawing. I was a terrible artist, but I would try drawing, inking. I did a lot of inking. I created this sort of character idea boy for myself, where I would write to the comic book creators and share my ideas with them and suggestions and whatever, and they would publish my letters in the back of the comic books. And it got to like, we almost became friends. I became friends with some of the guys who worked at these studios. Like, some of them would call me from California to New Jersey, I was like a 15-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid, and we're talking ideas here, and, what you do when you're an idea boy. And then I went out to California, but I basically had this horrible experience with my idol at the time. But I met the guy, and he was basically a douchebag to me, for no reason. It still boggles my mind why he was such a douchebag, but it was such a traumatic experience for me that I never read comics again. I basically stopped writing, coming up with storylines for superheroes and all. I was like this fucking... And now I'm like, holy shit, if I stuck with that, I'd probably be like a millionaire right now. I'd probably be like writing like fucking Marvel. But I do wish that maybe I had stuck with some of that hobby, which was the imaginative writing and creation.
Man, I have an idea, boy. Make that answer shorter. Damn. Just kidding. I don't think you should meet your idols. Everybody I've met who's an artist of any quality usually is very disappointing interpersonally. Specifically, Sage Francis, probably my favorite rapper. A poet, super interesting, usually on the right side of good ideas. I got to meet him in person. I couldn't wait to talk about hip-hop and life. And he just kind of blew me off. And so then I got very drunk, which is usually the way I deal with my emotions. So I guess at 15, you didn't have that option. But yeah, man, you could have been a famous Marvel writer, or you could be doing a remote podcast with me in the middle of the winter. So it's pretty much a win-win.
Question number 4.
What's something you believe to be true that most people think is false?
This is going to sound cliched, and I hate to sound cliche. I like to be an original kind of guy. I don't like the Beatles, just like the Grateful Dead, just like Fish. I don't know, just certain bands, they don't resonate with me. I'm not trying to be edgy. I'm not trying to be cool by being like, you can't force someone to like something. I don't like it. I've tried. I honestly have tried to like them. I've given re-listens. I've tried to be like, okay, this is a good song for, I don't know, mowing your lawn, but nothing. It has no effect on me. Go fuck yourself. And fucking, we can work it out. Should have called that song We Can't Work It Out, because they broke up. Okay? Fuck you, John Lennon.
Vin Bru, not a big fan of the Beatles. Also, coincidentally, a big fan of Mark David Chapman. Get it? I know what you mean, specifically with the band Tool, which is everything I should like. It's very heavy. The bass lines are amazing. The lyrics are good. I can't listen to it. It has zero emotion for me. Every song sounds like a very long build-up to an anticlimactic middle and end. And but also I know it doesn't. Also, I know that I should like it. It checks all the boxes, and it's always been a mystery to me. Yeah, and as far as I would even give the Fish and Grateful Dead a bit more credit, because it can be listened to passively in the background, where there's something about the composition of the Beatles music that does make your mind focus, where with the jam band stuff, you can passively listen to it more. Yeah. You know what? Fuck Paul McCartney, too. I said it.
Question number 5.
How much time would you have to spend alone before the freedom of it wore off and you became bored or depressed?
I think I could go a long time, to be honest with you, depending on what I had at my disposal in terms of keeping myself entertained. 5 years ago, I went to a cabin in New Hampshire to record an album, just me and my dog, and then I would write and record a new song every day that I was there, and I put this album out called Cabin Boy, and I think I could probably have lived that way for the rest of my life.
Cabin Boy is the name of an album, also the name of a young man who works on a boat. In a world where bad things happen in remote cabins, I think that this is one we can check off for the world as a positive. Sounds kind of nice right about now. I like Vermont. I like Lake Champlain. Great skate park right on the water. Good drinking town. Mountains with the sun setting behind them.
Question number 6.
What's a favorite joke of yours or someone else's?
Favorite joke of mine. which I don't actually think is very funny, but I like it. So I'm an alcoholic, but I'm also dyslexic, so I recently checked myself into a Bihar facility, which is a facility for people who are addicted to The View co-host Joy Behar. Which, yeah, it was weird. But yeah, so I'm doing better now. Still have a drinking problem, but I no longer watch The View, so that's good. It's a terrible joke.
There's something about terrible jokes that I love. My favorite terrible joke that I wrote is, I found out my dog is Jamaican. How? 'Cause he hates the mailman, mon. It's just something about the alliteration of mailman, mon, that cracks me up, but what are you going to do, you know? I think sometimes it's good to put a bad joke in, like the middle of a set, a nice palate cleanser, in case you've been building up too fast and you know you're not going to meet those expectations.
Question number 7.
Make up something that sounds like a racial slur, then use it in a sentence. For example, he's a real soup sipper, if you know what I mean.
I don't really like this question. Not because I'm too woke or anything. I just haven't found anything I like yet. First thing that came to mind was shrimp ticklers. You know, like, yeah, look at these fucking shrimp ticklers over there. But that sounds more like a pedophile thing than a racial thing.
You may have been better off suffering that rejection in California if you had hung out there. Sounds like a few of those fellas may have been shrimp ticklers. You never know. You never know. Moving on.
Question number 8.
What's a strange fact about you? I didn't eat a hot dog till I was 37 years old.
Well, I guess I don't want to steal your, I had never done something until a certain age, but I had never actually run a mile until I was 40 years old. Every time that the mile happened in school, I would either walk it or I would call out sick. And it got to the point where, like, my gym teachers would just make fun of me all the time. Like, oh, you sick again? That's funny. And it's probably why my gym teacher, Mr. Rick Hildebrand, if you're out there, Rick, at the time I was very angry about this. But I've come to think it was pretty funny. But he told me, like, they did like a body mass index test or something of us, and he told me that I was 90% fat.
I've always heard that humans are 70% water plus 90% fat. That means at one point in your life you were 160% of something. So you were more than 100%, which seems to me that you were really trying, giving it your all. My high school was so filled with degenerates that a lot of kids would smoke a cigarette on the far side of the track, away from the eyes of the gym teachers.
Question number 9.
What's your favorite piece of art? Whether it's an album, movie, painting, or book.
That is a great question. That's a great question. I have so many answers. It's hard to pick just one. Growing up, I really loved Watchmen, the graphic novel. That was maybe the first thing in my life that blew my mind. Like, I was devastated when it ended and just blown away by the whole story, everything that sort of came together at the end there, and was like, holy shit. And subsequently, I feel like the TV show that aired on HBO was the perfect TV. I loved it.
I know nothing about The Watchmen. People have recommended it to me. I do have a tendency to like dark and gritty things, which I feel like it is. If it is Sin City plus the X-Men, then I'm in. Like a film noir X-Men, I think that would be pretty delightful, actually. HBO usually does a good job with things. I'll trust it.
Question 10.
Final question.
Where do you want to be in 5 years?
If you're talking physically, which you're probably not, but I'm just going to run with that. If you're talking physically, I do not want to be here in New Jersey. No offense to New Jersey. I love New Jersey. This is one of my favorite places. I'd rather not be in this country if I have a choice in the matter. I'd rather be in France. I love France. I identify with them. But I don't know. This country is just clearly the shit's hitting the fan, and I feel like the fan's just gonna keep spinning faster and faster, just flinging more and more poop on everybody's faces. And as someone who's had poop flung on his face before, let me tell you, I'm done with it. Okay, I'm done. I know it's a very white privilege-y thing to say, like, oh, I'm gonna leave the country. I'm probably not. In reality, I'm probably not going to any other fucking country. I'm probably still going to be here in New Jersey in 5 years. But I would like to get the fuck out of this country unless we start seeing some changes, you know?
I think it would be a white privilege thing if you refer to it as France. But since you continuously say it in the most New Jersey way possible, France, I think you're good. I could see you. The Bru Vineyard, the Bruverd, the Vincent Bruverd. And I come to visit. You're telling me about grapes, talking to me about cheese. You have a goat that you're oddly attached to. His name's Marcel. Marcel. But oddly attached to. I occupy the guest house for what you think is going to be about 2 weeks. And about 5 or 6 months later, the French police are dragging me out because I refuse to leave. It's just a perfect European tale. Truly, they'll make a movie about us, baby.
This has been a Dirtbag NPR production. Please link, subscribe, and share.